Are there still new affordable small cars? Yes, probably, with the all-new Skoda Fabia, new generation of the small vehicle lineup here by Skoda. And look at that here in the front, a wider stance, 5 centimeters or 2 inches wider than before, with a strong front grille, sporty look, also with adaptive cooling. It only opens then on the inside on demand, because this car, one of the most aerodynamic in the segment, the CD value for the wind coefficient of 0.28 is quite impressive. LED now standard for the headlamps, a simple LED, and these here are the, let's say, more elaborated optional LED lamps than full LED, and also interesting light structure here, crystalline check work by Skoda, and also a very strong bumper right here. This is the style trim level in velvet red. Interesting that also in the side profile there's now a contrasting roof available here in gray. You can also get it in black, and the length of this new generation now at 4 meters 11 or 162 inches. That's about 10 centimeters or 4 inches longer than before, and all of that went into the wheelbase to give you more space on the inside. It now also sits on this MQB A0 platform by the Volkswagen Corporation. So the VW Polo is a sister model, for example, or the Seat Ibiza. And also new technology, 9 airbags on the inside. That's actually quite impressive. And also in the interior. A lot of stuff is coming up there because it's kind of all new interior, even more so, even more changes than here on the exterior. Here the turning indicators or hazard lights look quite impressive here, at least already in the front. Wheels 15 to 18 inch, these here in the middle 17 inch or a little bit more to the upper scale. Interesting look, these here also aerodynamic inserts, and then this is a nice detail, look at that, the valve cap here also with the Skoda logo. Towards the rear, the new tail lamps with this again check glass craftsmanship work, really interesting. You can also get them in full LED as an option as well. And in general, it's a very clean design here at the rear. You have a big Skoda lettering right here. And then the lower part, no fake exhaust tips at all. I think also very clean design, so a modern look here for the Fabia in the rear. And suspensions, you start with the normal base suspension. The adaptive suspension DCC not available here for this platform. However, what you can pick is either a stiffer sport suspension, 50 millimeters lower, or a soft off-road suspension, so to speak, 50 millimeters higher for a little bit more ground clearance. That's the difference of 0.6 inches each, up or down. And if you ask yourself, what about the estate version, the Fabia Combi? Yes, it will also be coming up in this new generation. In the UK, by the way, the hatch is really the favorite one, but in Germany or Czech Republic, so the other two important markets, the Combi, the estate, is almost making half of the sales share, so it would be, not so wise from them not to offer it. But here, hatch first, actually, later than the estate. Which one would you go for? Let's move to the interior. This is the car key. Simple, but definitely does the job. Keyless entry, this is the way you close it. Then also the side mirrors fold in or here then out again when I open the vehicle. There we go. Door closing sound. Not good at all. There the Polo, for example, is better. So they didn't pay attention to the door closing sound, but they paid attention to a lot of interesting details, like here, the umbrella. And yeah, this is of course a cool Rolls-Royce-alike feature here in the Fabia. And yeah, in this case it protects against the sun. Why not? Well, rest of the interior, this is really a revolution now for the Fabia. Look at that. It looks completely different than before. New steering wheel inspired by the bigger models, digital instruments, zoom more details to that. And these seats here, two different fabric seats available. These ones here with gray accentuations in the middle and really like sporty also shoulder proportions right here. These are not the base seats though, but both actually do a good job, so that makes a quite good impression. And yeah, while I'm still busy folding in this umbrella, let's get inside. Whoop. Here we go. So yeah, I'll do that later. Wow, this is something in new interior. Steering wheel up, down, in and out. Very good and smooth process. Soon we'll go in detail to all the screens. It's a very comfortable seating position considering it's a small car here. Then lowest position and 1m86 or 6'1", still leaves enough headroom. This is very interesting. It's an option here, this panoramic roof, and it is just as it is. It's a fixed panoramic roof, you can't open it, but here there's this shade available, and this is a manual shade, and the only way you could put it in or out is just like, you know, pulling it or squeezing it in again. So you can fold it then, like there's like these 3 pieces. You see, it's not that practical, so this is rather something like, for example, in winter times you take it out once, and in summertime you always leave it in. And a very interesting, stylish door handle, by the way. Is it that practical? I'll have to see. Yeah, yes, I saw it coming. Yeah, please go ahead in the comments. And now let's put it back again. Interior overview, really sophisticated here for the small car segment. I really love this fabric insert they have here at the dashboard. There's a structured dashboard here as well, but it's actually hard pack. But I mean, at least it looks structured. Same way also inside of the doors, front and rear, also just hard pack, but it's this segment. Fabia like stamped in here. That's a cool detail, definitely. And then as for screens, you start 6.5, then 8-inch, and then here 9.2-inch. This is the biggest one that also has the gesture control, which is never working in these vehicles. Soon more deals to that. Then we have the air vents right here, and yes, still manual temperature unit in the lower end. However, for the vent strength and where the air is coming from, there then you have to go in the menu once again and check it in the infotainment system. Okay, at least something. Then in the lower part you have inductive charging pad. It's like in the front, but also 2 USB-C connectors. And here also interesting detail. Oh, a small Fabia pen here, and there's the holder for it. Yeah, interesting idea. Here the dual clutch transmission, DSG. Manual, of course, also available in most of the Fabias. Manual handbrake, you know, for rally drifting stuff and so on and so on. Then there's this armrest here in fabric, also well built, some space underneath. Then we have these cup holders here too, and you see you can also put out the whole thing like this, and then have, yeah, but that's not that practical, and I wonder why they did that, because you see here when the bottle is a little bit bigger and it's maybe a little bit stuck, then you're always lifting up the whole thing there. The steering wheel here with the open spoke design, left side, toggle here for the volume and for next song. Here, heated steering wheel is available as an option, really cool option for this segment. Also heated windscreen is another option. Right side here, there you can switch a little bit in the digital instruments. So see here, there's an option. You start with 3.5 small screen and an analog instrument. These here are the optional 10.25-inch digital instruments. They're actually really flexible, rather simplified view, racy view, or then with the GPS, and you can also then change the inside, like with the zoom, for example. So actually flexible, and or here map all over the place. Pretty cool solution. The most sophisticated screen like this, 9.2, has no buttons overall. Oh, now the gesture control did work sometime. Yeah, there we go. So I would rather recommend the 8-inch screen. Here the top one, of course, has the biggest, you know, area and so on. You have different home screens you can also individualize, but you see with these new systems by Skoda, Seat, VW, even Audi and Porsche have problems. They are getting slower and slower, and they were faster before. Here now they close to Gdansk. Wow, a lot of traffic here at the Polish coast. Then let's go back. This is the main menu actually, and interesting is that we have this climate menu. So here you can either set, like, you know, how strong the vent should be, AC on off, and also where it should be coming from actually. Yeah, but I think it's a little bit too complicated here in the manual. You can then, you know, adjust it like this, for example. Here, there you can select it and where it's coming from. Then there's the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto integration, like this. Yeah, that goes wildly over the screen, but still big bezels here. And the sound is, for such a small vehicle, very decent. Nice. let's now get in the rear. So we have this wheelbase increase by 10 centimeters or 4 inches, and that means you can now house 4 tall adults in this vehicle. It directly fits, not more, not less. And the rear seat is actually also quite comfortable, and also very good fabric quality here from the seat. Different styling than in the front a little bit, but this, this structure is actually the same. So it's kind of rugged, but comfortable at the same time. So I really like it in here. Yes, of course, for people at my size, should be a little bit bigger car overall, but maybe considering its length of 4 meters 11, there's really good space we have here on the interior. We also have this armrest with cup holders right here, and this middle box here, by the way, a lot of things you can pull out. Here, for example, this is like a rubber storage here. You can also put maybe like a bottle in here or something. And also this whole thing here actually can be pulled out. So you see here, I can just move it to the side and then pull the whole thing out, because to use the middle seat then it's not that practical. But that's a good thing about the Fabia or the Skodas in general. There are so many things you can actually put out. Here I also have these door pockets here for a smartphone. But yeah, since we're all smartphone addicts nowadays anyway, no one would put the smartphone in here. You would just hold it in the hand. And then the middle seat here is of course a little bit stiffer, still works also headroom wise. Yeah, why not? And the same way you can do this in the front, by the way, you can also remove this panoramic sunroof cover from the rear. And yeah, it is a little bit weird, very weird. And you have to just use the force, like rear end. Okay, this is getting really weird, but if a Fabia owner at some point has a better solution for this, please let me know. Now I got it, I think. I know you love to see me work. There it is. Yes. Ooh, great view through the panoramic roof now, thanks to my exhausting effort to remove this thing. Yes, I know you want to see how I put it in again, right? Okay. Yes. That's why I said you only do it once per year, or like twice per year basically. I know you probably get some practice. I feel like installing or deinstalling a wind deflector in a convertible is definitely easier than this here. And now I'll battle against one of the biggest trunks in the small car segment. 380 liters, 50 liters more than before. And by the way, the first interesting thing here, the top part. Look at that. There's a nice possibility to close it again when you pull it, and then you don't get your hands dirty, when it's like dirty on the outside. So let's see inside here, these 380 liters. So the length is 26 inches or 64 centimeters, and the width is almost a meter or 40 inches, so that's good. And since there's no cover, then in this case here, we also have a massive height of 22 inches or 55 centimeters below the cover. That's really interesting. You see also some luggage sample on the inside, but you also have these intelligent splitters like this one here for smaller items. You can have hangers here, for example. Then we started the way before. This one here, for example, you can install it like here, and then you have this, this additional element where you can put something on it. So this is also possible. And then you see here, when I load things through, 1/3, 2/3 split. And when I'm going up to my driver's seat, let's see, then we can score some 56 inches or 140 centimeters, 1 meters 40. Again, very well usable, 1,200 liters maximum for that small vehicle. As for engines, hello, we have the 1 liter 3-cylinder petrol engine, either as MPI, naturally aspirated, 65 or 80 horsepower. Then this one here is the 1 liter 3-cylinder turbocharged, 95 or 110 horsepower. In the 110 horsepower spec, you can also then made it with the dual clutch transmission, the DSG, and the top engine would be the 1.5 TSI 4-cylinder. This one is always combined with the automatic transmission. However, the MPI, the base level engine, still has a very large share in the whole sales. However, this one here might be the sweet spot in between. Let's see. Another interesting feature you find with Skoda vehicles is here The wiper fluid fill-in is always combined with with the funnel, so it's even easier then to fill it up. Let's start driving the Skoda Fabia in the all-new generation. Welcome to Thomas's driving lounge. Here with the 1-liter 3-cylinder turbo petrol engine, 110 horsepower, and the DSG, the dual clutch transmission, the automatic gearbox. So we're starting here with some rather rural driving, and the steering wheel is set, steering in itself set really soft. However, you also have some driving modes, and for example set it on sport. This is relevant for the DSG definitely, because it then actually shifts differently. So sport mode then turns the gears up higher. And also the steering here has a little bit more resistance. Here now rough road, this is a good test for suspension. Adaptive suspension is not available here. We have the base normal suspension right there, and it's a really rough road then here, so it's a good test that we have it here. And yeah, I mean, it doesn't give you a comfort as some of the bigger vehicles, but for this small car segment, it's actually decently okay. This MQB A0 platform, by the way, this gives you more stiffness now from the chassis, and we feel also then here on these rough roads that the chassis doesn't flex. So therefore this new generation here also feels sportier than before. It's kind of like a soft off-roading experience here. So if someone from Poland is watching, tell us if your roads are always like this now. I mean, we have here also this new building area. But definitely a lot of fun here already, feel kind of rally style. There will also be a Monte Carlo version for this one here once again, which is more a styling version definitely, but yeah, I'm really enjoying this rough road experience here. So why not? Left-right slalom in the sports mode, it's a little better from the steering input. Yeah, and I really feel that they improved the chassis overall here, better stiffness, better rigidity than in the previous generation. Also, just from the seating position, it definitely feels more grown up, more already goes in the kind of compact car direction. So if you compare it then, for example, to some of the small car siblings, it kind of feels a little bit more elaborated. Well, and now switch to Google Maps for the GPS. That might be a better idea. Then let's go back to the driving modes, because it was also interesting. So to me the steering has, it hasn't got a dead zone area. That's good. So it's actually well to control. A little bit too soft maybe, but I can also, for example, leave everything as it is, and in the individual mode here, just set the steering to sport, and then I have just a little bit more resistance to the steering, but everything else remains the same. That's also a good solution. Now here about like 60 or 70 kilometers an hour, something about that. It's actually very good noise insulation. Just check, all the windows are up. So they also work on the noise insulation, of course, and this actually at a decent level. And you feel that overall the car is very well balanced, very good in the handling as the weight distribution and so on. And also this more sophisticated interior also has an effect on you while driving, of course. So sometimes with the infotainment system it's a little bit complicated because it's too slow, I think. That's one thing for sure. So most of the time then you will probably end up using the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto and so on. And now on this beautiful bridge here, travel assist selected. You have to select it here on the steering wheel, and adaptive cruise control together with the lane keeping assist is active. And it, in situations like these, the lines are actually not properly drawn here at the moment, so you have to be a little bit more careful. But the thing is here, it keeps the car in the lane. Now also the lines are there, and then the only thing you need to do is touch the steering wheel, and then it automatically knows you're still here. Before you had to move the steering wheel. Now with the capacitive function, this is also easier, and it actually acts in a very smooth way. So again, situations like these where the lines are not properly done, then you have to act yourself. But when you're on the motorway and you have the wide lines left and right, then it's actually very reliable. And about the fuel economy, by the way, this is indeed better due to the better wind efficiencies. You can can score some 6 liters in 1 kilometer, so 40 mpg US, some 47 mpg UK, which is actually quite okay and definitely better than before. And now let's put to the sport mode, acceleration on the motorway with the 1 liter turbo petrol engine, 40 kilometers an hour, let's go. That's 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, and it was actually quite decent. So this engine will be enough when you want to accelerate on the motorway. The stronger 1.5 turbo petrol engine, the 4-cylinder, also has a small share in the whole model portfolio. It will of course be more powerful and more fun. And the MPI, so the naturally aspirated entry-level engines, for the city they'll do just fine, and also with the manual gearbox. However, if you have situations like these where you want to quickly get on the motorway, then it makes sense to go for one of the turbo petrol engines. Blind spot monitor is integrated in the side mirror. So, is there anyone coming from behind now? Not at the moment. So it's basically flashing in this area then here on both sides, and of course a very helpful thing to have. So I would advise to go for one of these assistance system packages that you at least have then the blind spot monitor. Once again, I have a lot of fun driving the vehicle, so this new platform does very well in this one here, and it took quite a while until here the Fabia got it. It's basically delayed, you know, so the Ibiza and the Polo, they came more or less simultaneously. Here the Fabia now followed, but then they could also integrate more new stuff, more new things, and it also just has some, you know, just extended features for more practicability on the interior. This is what makes this car really special. This is a fun corner right here. Arteon in this cocoon mallet yellow. Wow, yeah, I'm really amazed by how much fun this car is, and I always love to see that there are still affordable vehicles on the road which are still so much fun to drive. The entry-level version of this vehicle you can get for some less than 14,000 euros, again in German entry price, with the base naturally aspirated engine, yes, and also with not so much, you know, like analog instruments, the smaller screen, and so on and so on. This one here being one of the higher trim levels, not the highest yet though, but you do not have to go for all of 2Xs for sure. 120 kilometers an hour now, so like, you know, 68 miles an hour, something like this, and still very well situated on the road. The heated windscreen, by the way, is not a foil like we know from the Golf or so, where you can't see anything. Here you also have these, you know, small lines in the windshield that do heat them. When we drive a little bit faster, wind noise is picking up. Considering it's this segment, of course, they don't spend too much time on noise insulation at higher speeds, but I think it's still reasonable. If you compare other small vehicles, this one here, the all-new Skoda Fabia, is definitely in a lot of aspects, you know, very, very well situated. Yeah, there's a lot of fun here. Lane change at higher speeds, really good agility. So the driving agility and driving fun is top-notch. The features that are offered, also top-notch. Again, infotainment system can sometimes be a little bit complicated, so I'd rather keep it with the Apple CarPlay, and I would also stick with the smaller one here to have the knobs. Climate unit, at least I can control the temperature also here while driving, so the user interface is still somewhat simple, and now also with more space. Oh, I think they have a very good package. The VW Polo recently received a facelift. We have a video of that, by the way, and also an older video of the Seat Ibiza, but of course also outside the VW Corporation. There's the Ford Fiesta, which is also very popular in the UK, for example. We also have a video of that. So if you're deciding between these vehicles, also the Mazda 2, we all have the videos tuned in there.